Welcome to another episode of Breadcrumbs from the Soul, a radio station dedicated to finding those hidden miracles in life's everyday circumstance. Today is a very special episode. It's going to air on Christmas Eve. In this episode, we're going to be looking at finding the Christmas spirit. And as we do with all of our other episodes, we're going to start with a quote, and then I'm going to apply some wisdom from the quote to everyday circumstances. And in this case, we're going to be taking a look at Christmas time, that holiday season, and where do we find that Christmas spirit within all of us. And particularly, I hope that this will be helpful to anybody who feels a little bit of pain inside or a little hole in their heart this Christmas season. And I'm hoping that this information will help you to also find the Christmas spirit. To begin this episode, I'm going to use a quote from Dr. Terry Cole-Whittaker, and I mentioned her last week. And prior to taking any of my ministerial courses, I signed up for Dr. Terry Cole-Whittaker's master's program. And when you do that, you have a direct connection with Dr. Terry Cole-Whittaker. She talks to you on the phone. And this is the book that she sent over to get started on. And it's called Having Spiritual and Material Riches. And the quote, I was breezing through this actually this morning, and the quote that jumped out at me and I thought really would help us as we dive into finding the Christmas spirit. And she says here, "Forget feeling guilty, as you must stop the feelings of love to feel bad, as if feeling miserable will make it all somehow better. Feeling sad, bad, and wretched makes us want to feel better by looking outside of ourselves. This cycle can only be stopped when we refuse to blame, feel shame, or anger." So how can this quote help us to find the Christmas spirit? It begins with an understanding of where the Christmas spirit really lives. It lives within each of our hearts. And with that, we begin. We celebrate the birth of our brother, Jesus. And in that celebration, we are recognizing this miraculous human who spent a great deal of his life in study and seeking. And at one point in his life, awakened to the extent that he transcended his body. His teachings help us to understand that this is all within us. And so the Christmas spirit is something that we find within us. There is a beautiful song, Silent Night, always makes me cry when I go deeply into the sentiment of the song. And the sentiment is that there is an innocence born into our lives, and we acknowledge that this innocence brings forth to us something rare and beautiful. And we feel humble in the presence of this innocence, this innocent baby born on a very silent night. For me, one of the most powerful lessons that Jesus has taught in his teachings in the Bible and also in A Course in Miracles is that he is exemplifying for us, he is showing us the way through his life. And it's through that example that we shall come to understand that we are the same as our brother Jesus, that there is no difference. And so within the eyes of this precious child, this baby, we are able to see ourselves, our innocence. That is our gift that we share with Jesus. We are to bring this love into the world as He brought this love into the world. As Dr. Terry Cole-Whittaker mentions in her quote, I'm going to go back to it. I always like to make sure I'm quoting it properly. Of course, it would have helped if I would have kept the page open. Forget feeling guilty, as you must stop the feelings of love to feel bad. So let's go back to the Christmas spirit. Have you ever noticed that during this season, people just seem a little bit more loving? How do you suppose it's possible for us to just feel more loving at this particular season, more giving at this particular season, 1 month a year, and we don't feel that way the rest of the time? I think it's an excellent example of what we are really doing in our everyday lives. In our everyday life, we are focused in on the dilemma of living. It's a dilemma. There are bills to pay, time frames to meet, far more work, it feels at times, than there is time in the day to get the work done. Always more to accomplish. Things don't always work out the way you think they should or could. There's so much going on. It takes our attention. But at Christmas time, we put our attention on loving thoughts. We watch Christmas specials, our favorite Christmas specials. We see decorations. We see people putting lights up on their house. It's a gift they give to their neighbors. We see acts of great kindness. We see a lot of commercials about that inspire giving, taking care of animals, feeding people who don't have enough food. So we see more of that, and we're pulled into this emotion of love. And in that place, we think about it. We think about, oh, isn't that lovely? Isn't it wonderful to be able to contribute or to help? Or, I want to buy something from my postman and remember her this season. Or, I'm going to do something here. Or I'm going to help somebody that I think might benefit from a little bit of help right now. All of these emotions bubble up inside of us. And we actually have permission to let them bubble up, don't we? We have permission to be loving and giving at this time. But I think if we really take a moment to look at what's happening, what we are doing is we're loosening the reins a little bit on everything else. We got this rein around our neck most of the year, but this time of the year we're kind of loosening it a little bit. We're kind of undoing our tie a little bit. We're getting a little bit more comfortable, aren't we? And in that loosening, we're releasing barriers to what always exists under the surface, where we reside in this place of love, under the surface of what we see and what we think about people is where we really reside. the spirit of one, love. And as Dr. Terry Cole-Whittaker says, forget feeling guilty, as you must stop the feelings of love to feel bad. Anything that we put our focus on, work, goals, deadlines, objectives, all of those things take our energy, our attention. And as we give that, we're actually taking those things and we're putting them up as a block between that peace that is there always. And when we allow those things, when we set those things aside, whatever they are, when we set that aside, now we feel the peace that's there always. We take it, we put it here, we don't feel it. Put it on the side, we feel it. So the Christmas spirit is that essence that's there always. We're allowing things to get in the way of it. So instead of just allowing peace to be as it is in our lives, allowing that to be, we are creating something to place our attention on, to put it in front of it. And, we're very complex. So we humans, we don't tend to do things like a little bit. We go way big. So we don't just put one thing. We put a whole bunch of things. This is how old I am. This is how many stresses I have. This is how many deadlines I have. This is how many goals I have. This is how many responsibilities I have. This is how I look. This is how I feel. This is how my love feels. This is how my children feel. This is how they look. This is what they need from me. This is what I need to do. It's just like, whoa. There's a pile of things are like heavy weights, things we're creating in our head, placing on top of the Christmas spirit, that love and peace that would always be there, flourishes. In fact, it is always there, but it would be our experience always, because we don't always experience it. It's there for us to experience, but we have to get all this stuff off. And so all we really have to do is realize, as the quote says, as you must stop the feelings of love to feel bad. We are stopping the flow of love when we are feeling bad. Okay, so let's get to our everyday circumstance. If you're feeling pain, and I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, what if you're feeling a hole in your heart? What if you're lonely? How do we experience the Christmas spirit in those circumstances? Step 1, practice gratitude for what you have. You begin with the simplest things. I am grateful for my breath. I am grateful for my health. I am grateful for those who are in my life. I am grateful for the opportunity of awareness, that I can be listening to this video, that I can be following meditations, and I can be reading, and I can be learning. And through that process, I am grateful that I will be a better me, and that I can be a better gift back to the universe. I am in gratitude for what I have. Step 2, share your gratitude with others by sending them the blessings that you would have for yourself. Why? Because we are one. When you are blessing them, it is a blessing upon yourself. Give them the blessings. To that extent, I was inspired to write a meditation, and I will put a link to that meditation at the end of this video, and it's a 10-minute meditation. And it was inspired by the recording of this episode and the song Silent Night. And in that, we go through a process together, and we end with a prayer together. And we bless our brothers and our sisters. We bless our friends, bless our enemies. And recognize that within them is the same innocence and the same love and the same possibilities that are within us and within us all. And step 3, remember that peace on earth begins in our hearts, in each individual heart. Send peaceful thoughts and loving thoughts unto everyone that you come in contact with, whether you know them or not, friend or perceived enemy. With that, I wish for us all that we may experience the Christmas spirit all of the days of the year. I hope that you have found these steps to be useful, and I wish you a wonderful Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and I look forward to having you join me again next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time for another episode of Breadcrumbs from the Soul. Until then, I hope that you have a blessed week.